Welcome back. Today we are discussing standard RL 1.3. I can identify characters, settings, and major events in a story. So remember, identify is a fancy word. It just means that I can tell you about or I can look at. So I'm looking at the characters, the settings, and the events, and then I'm just going to tell you about them. So I'm going to be able to say, yep, that was the main character, or yep, that's where the story took place. So, characters. What are characters? Characters are people or animals in the story. Remember, if a story has it has a boy and his pet dog, but his dog is just kind of hanging out with him, and the whole story is not about him. If the dog's not talking, they're normally not going to be a main character or a character that's really mentioned. It's more talking about when you have a story where the animals can talk and they act like people in the story. That's when you're talking about animals as characters, and you'll see that in our story today. Settings. What is the setting of a story? The setting of a story is where the story takes place or the time it takes place. So where and when the story happened. Major events. Major means important. Events. What does that word events mean? Events are things that happen in a story. So major events means important things that happen in a story. So I have at the beginning of the story this happened, in the middle of the story, and then at the end, the major events in the story. So to cover RL 1.3, we are going to be identifying characters, settings, and major events in our story. Our story for today is Giraffes Can't Dance. We've already read this story, but we are going to answer some questions about this story. Okay, let's begin. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. Who is the main character in this story? The character that the story is mostly about. I'm going to flip through the pages. Normally, a main character is going to be on most of the pages. So let's see who is on most of the pages. Ooh, I see one character that's on most of these pages. Okay, next question. Why is Gerald sad? So I want you to listen to these pages to be able to answer why Gerald is sad. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked towards the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. Hey, look at clumsy Gerald, the animals all sneered. Giraffes can't dance, you silly boy. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept from the dance floor and started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Remember, our question is, why is Gerald sad? Think about what the animals did when he went to dance. Okay. Our next question is, who helped Gerald learn to dance? I'm going to read the next few pages, and I want you to think about our question. Who helps Gerald learn to dance? Then he found a little clearing, and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is the branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hoofs started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying and his tail was swishing round. He threw his legs out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I'm dancing. Yes, I'm dancing. I'm dancing, Gerald cried. Remember, our question was, who helps Gerald learn to dance? Who helps Gerald learn to dance? Okay, and our last question. What is the setting of this story? What is the setting of this story? Now, remember, the setting is where the story takes place. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. I'll read that one more time. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance. So the setting is in the words and the pictures. So use what I read aloud and the picture to help you find out the setting or where the story takes place. Okay, now I want you to go on Teams and click on the assignment, identifying characters, settings, and events for Giraffes Can't Dance. Answer those questions and submit your assignment. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see your wonderful work. Have a great day.